my name is Tim Osborne. If you don't know me, a project supervisor with the design and renewal team, more on the renewal side. And I've got Aileen with me here as well. Go ahead, Aileen.
Yep, good afternoon. Aileen Ledbeater. I'm a design coordinator in the design and renewal department.
And we'll do a fairly quick presentation for you guys on service improvement team organization for mid to large size teams. So a brief description of our services. Our whole group is involved in the design of renewal work. So if you're not familiar of the massive pre-inflation of the last few years, $4.5 billion backlog, I'm sure that's much higher now. That renewal work involves things that upgrade old facilities and parts of the building, from gym floors to air handling units, classroom retrofits, everything to do with upgrading the school to bring it either up to code or up to a new standard for 2022 and beyond. Throughout that whole process, between design and renewal, we have constant communication with schools and other stakeholders through facilities or whoever may be involved throughout the entire process. And our design and renewal team has approximately 70 staff, with 13 of those members on our service improvement team. Our structured approach to organizing our team is sort of follows what we do in practice. So this was more easy for us to apply to our service improvement team. What we did here was appoint 2 service improvement team leaders, one from design, one from renewal, on our team. Throughout the entire process of a cycle, with service improvement, we would have bi-weekly meetings with recording minutes, which is a practice we do already. And part of that practice is every member of that team would take a turn each week reviewing, actively reading the minutes of the previous week and reviewing that before taking over with new action items. For us, to kick off our cycle, modules were reviewed with the entire team in order to select which ones we wanted to implement. We'll get that more in detail through the presentation. And in some cases, for larger modules, they would have multiple team members assigned to those. Aileen?
Yeah, so as Tim referred to, we distributed responsibility across the team through actively using the planner throughout the meetings and on our own time. Obviously, outside of that, we had identified our goal to achieve level 2, and but decided as well to build in a buffer to that in the event that, for example, we didn't get full points on one particular module. So we did picked a few other ones as well that we thought we could achieve or work on to get at least some even part points. So that's how we determined what level we were aiming to achieve. Then what we did was, again, having access to the planner, we asked each of the SIT members to review each of the modules just to get a familiarity with, what they were asking, and obviously the amount of input and work required to achieve that module. And when we met then, subsequently, we were able to hear from each member indicating, what module they potentially were interested in, and made sure, obviously, through all of that, we were still making sure we were achieving attending to achieve the full points.
For how we distributed responsibility across the team, essentially, once all of the modules were picked that we felt we could work on to achieve our goal, our points goal for our level, each team member would then volunteer to work on a module from November through April. And I just threw an example snapshotted from the Service Excellence Planner, just to showcase you can assign a module to an individual person, and then once submitted, you can see the submission or, basically what status it is. So in this case, obviously, I showed one that we got perfect on, which is great. Strategies to engage the team and keep on track. Like I said, just repeating earlier, we did hold bi-weekly meetings to review each module together. But in that meeting, when we reviewed it with everyone, at least that opened up the opportunity for other members who may not be working on that module to help come in with suggestions if they were necessary to help guide, any challenges with that module to get it into the right direction to achieve our goal. And each meeting we would assign and record action items for each module for those responsible for that module, just to help with follow-up and assign responsibility for things. And one critical part of this was for the service improvement team leaders for our team. They would meet either monthly and more towards the end of the cycle before we had to start submitting everything. They would meet individually with each module team to help with any challenges and provide assistance as needed. And here's an example just to show you some structure, an example of our minutes here, which pretty straightforward, but it has all the membership of the team if anyone's missing. But like you can see where we have the different discussion items, action items, and who's responsible, etc. We also had a Google Drive file structure that everyone would have access to. So once we selected the modules we wanted to work on, we could create a folder with the names associated, and then they could input any of their documentation and keep it in there, as well as copies of our minutes from each week.
So at the end of the session, the cycle, we went back and looked to see what went well. Obviously, with the organization strategy, we felt that through the minutes and the biweekly meetings and the individual option for individual meetings, the leaders were able to help the team remain focused on the modules and then associated action items. So we would check in to ensure, if there was something somebody needed more documentation on, that we could help to provide that. And I think altogether, obviously, that helped people remain responsible for the module that they had selected, and ensure that we, as an entire team, were progressing towards the ultimate goal of the level 2.
Lessons learned. This was the first year for us that the Service Excellence team had initiated that online planner. And for us, that online planner was great in allowing us to focus in on what the module's expectations were. So when we set our points and pick our module, we could start figuring out what we want to do. Because the number one thing that I'm sure every team has when they start doing this is they sit down and go, well, we're already busy. How do we find enough time to do this? And you can have a lot of wasted time if you don't know what to do, where to go, and how to do all these things. So that planner really helped for us make things more efficient. So even though you're busy, you can allow when you have time to get right down into what you need to work on to accomplish your goal. So as I said, this allowed our team to understand the expectations better and the point allocation with a better understanding of these expectations that allowed us to focus and be efficient with the tasks as well as our time. And all of that together allowed our team to be set up for success.
Just quickly, because we want to leave enough time for if there's any questions. We did a team survey, obviously assessing the team climate and services. So our intention is to continue to use those results for areas to continue to focus on. And we did have an in-person recognition outdoor team building event in the spring, which was really nice to be able to get it together with people and again, just build up the service improvement team. Any questions?
Oh, when you guys have your dividing the team now, you had 13 team leaders and 70 people. Did all those 70 people somehow get involved, or how did you break that up?
Quickly, I would just say with the 2 leaders, one from renewal, one from design, the intention was that lead took that information back to the larger group on each side. So we had weekly meetings where we had a standing item in our agendas for service excellence where we would take them information back to the larger team.
It's mostly just for updates. There wouldn't have been a lot of participation on the actual modules themselves, except for broader range items like the session where we had meeting with everyone in person. They would participate in that, but most of the individual modules submissions wouldn't have had their direct input.